Hiya, today I'm going to show you this makeup look from scratch, and in this video there's some tips on how to stop your eyeshadow from creasing. There are some tips on how to get your makeup to last all day, and I'm also putting a viral TikTok foundation to the test, so I hope you enjoy. As always, there's a full list of everything I've used in this video in the caption, so click to make the video full screen. The title will come up along the top, and if you click the arrow next to it, a full list of products will drop down. That said, please just feel free to use these tips and techniques with anything you've already got in your makeup bag. Okay, so to start with, Laurie, you had asked me for some tips. You're 60, you wanted your makeup to stay all day, especially on a hot day. And I'd say in this scenario, the first thing that you can do to really get your makeup to last is to prep with something hydrating. I've already prepped with my prescription cream in the morning and an SPF 50. And I've left a little while between those and doing my makeup. And I'm going to go in with some of the Becca. This is the, let me get the name right, First Light Priming Filter. Now, this is a primer. 9 times out of 10, I actually don't use primer. It's not one of my favourite things to use. I often think that if you want your makeup to last, you can achieve that really well with your skincare. However, something soft like this you're going to see is actually going to add radiance to the skin, and I'm going to use a really full coverage base today. So if you find a primer that does something else, so it's going to add a glow as well as keeping your makeup in place, or maybe it will mattify as well as keeping your makeup in place, that's when I can get on board with them. Now, the next thing I'd say is try and use as little product as possible to get the coverage that you want. I'm going to put more in these red areas and less everywhere else. I'm going to use today this KVD Good Apple Foundation Balm. This has gone viral on TikTok, and I'm going to use, by the way, a small Peaches PC18 brush. What I would say with these viral things on TikTok is when you just see someone do one swipe of a foundation and then they're amazed and that's the end of the video, you don't actually manage to get a sense of who it's going to be good for. Now, Tina, you had asked me recently for a solution for very, very red, bumpy rosacea that was full coverage, and you've already tried the CC cream and you wanted to try something else. I would say if you want a completely full coverage, this is a really nice option for you because, as you can see, it is really full coverage. But what I would also say, which is harder to get across in a 7-second TikTok, is that this is a very, very rich formula. Now, I have kind of dryness in lots of parts of my skin, but then I am oily down the T-zone. And I've worn this a few times, and I do find that it's quite rich down the centre of the face, and it's not necessarily the best thing for lasting well. But if you're very dry and you want a full coverage, I think you would like this. So I just thought I would show you. I'm going to go over that spot, but I'm going to use a little bit of concealer on that as well, I think, because that really has reared its head. I don't know if you can see, but the sun's going in and out. So I can't see what I'm doing. I hope you can. And what I'm doing, I think you can see here with this brush, I'm picking up really small amounts of this and trying to spread it far and wide on the areas where I don't need as much coverage. And now for you, Laurie, wanting your makeup to last all day, the less we can use, the less we can use, the less heavy it's gonna sit, and the more likely we're gonna be able to get it to just stay where it is. So I'm gonna keep that slightly more fresh than usual and leave it at that. I'm actually not gonna go in with concealer because this is full coverage. I'm just gonna go back in with that balm and get onto that spot. Just taking the excess across the eyes as well. Now, crucial for getting your makeup to last all day, I would always set with a setting powder personally. You can use a setting spray as well if that's your preference, but I just think that powder helps to lock in, especially anything creamy, and seal it in for the day. Now, I would really emphasise I am barely pressing this onto my skin. It is very gently touching the skin. I want to press the powder on rather than rub it in so that it's not going to lift the coverage I've just built. and I'm doing the same down there. And now that that's nice and velvety, I'm going to go in with a little bit of my Laura Mercier Baked Bronzer. This just adds a really lovely, healthy bronze to the skin. And it's a nice kind of buttery formula that will complement this cream foundation really well. And then for my blush, I'm going to go in with this shade. This is the Laura Mercier Watermelon. This is one of my favourite blushes in a very, very long time. And you'll see the reason why when it goes on. I'm going to take it kind of quite nice and high along these cheeks. Now, this has a really soft iridescence through it. And what that means is it really catches the light from the side. If you're someone that wants to use a highlighter but you don't want it to sit in any fine lines, I feel like this blusher is the happy medium for you because it gives you a nice glow without needing to add a separate highlighter. It's this lovely kind of very soft pink peach, and a few people have asked me recently for suggestions for a blusher for fair skin that isn't going to look too strong. This would definitely be what I would suggest. It's a really, really pretty, luminous flush of colour. And actually, I was going to use some highlighter, but I might just leave that for a moment. I'll do the highlighter at the end so you can see how much that is going to add radiance. And I'm going to take the tiniest bit through the temple just to tie it all together, and the tiniest bit down my nose. Okay, while I'm putting my eyebrows on, I just want to address the elephant in the room. The sun keeps coming in and out, and to be perfectly honest with you, for several parts of this makeover, I have not been able to see what I'm doing. So if the light is changing or if I'm making a mess, that's what's going on. But in a way, it's quite nice because all of these kinds of tips and suggestions are going to be good for when it's a nice sunny day. So I suppose it's quite fitting really, isn't it? Okay, I want to look nice and well rested today, so I'm going in with some of the Peaches and Cream Papyrus liner. This is something similar to my skin colour, and when I put it in the eyes, it's just going to knock out any red or tiredness and make me look a bit more alert. And then a little tip now for eyeshadow that's creasing. Julie, you said to me the other day your eyeshadow keeps creasing. Use 2 layers, whatever happens. So if you're using powders, I want you to use a primer and then your powders. Or I'm going to go in with a cream now. This is a Charlotte Tilbury cream shadow. I want you to use your cream and then seal that with a powder. So let me show you what I mean. Right, I've scooped a little bit of that out and I'm going to put it onto a brush on the back of my hand and just take it right the way over the lids. The reason I like to do this is just so that the brush isn't going directly into the pot. There's no problem with doing that. I just think you get more control over the product this way, and you can add a little bit at a time rather than, you know, if your brush picks up absolutely loads in the pot and you've gone straight onto that eye area, it can be a bit more difficult to buff it out. So there we go, it's super simple. I've just taken that in a little wash all over, right the way over the crease, up through the brow bone. I just want a really simple, glowy look today. And then on top, I'm going to go in with the Peaches Most Wanted pigment. Now, I'm making sure that I do this pretty much instantly after I've put those creams on, so that this can set this shadow and prevent it from sitting into any lines. And now that powder has sealed in that cream and they've both made each other just look a little bit stronger and marry in together. So I'm going to take some of the Laura Mercier highlighter. This is the shade Indiscretion, and I'm going to take it through these brow bones. I'm going to take a tiny bit on the nose, a little bit above that blusher. I still want you to see the impact of the blusher on its own, but I do want a nice luminous base today. And then using the small end of that double-ended brush, I'm going to put a little bit on the inner corners of these eyes. Okay, going in with a little eyelash curl now. Because I've left the eyes really simple, I think a nice few layers of mascara will make all the difference to bring everything to life a bit. Gonna go in with a nice hearty dose of Superhero mascara. And then I'm gonna line the lips with a nice kind of raspberry pink. This is Charlotte Tilbury Bond Girl. And then I'm going in with the IT Cosmetics Solid Serum Pillow Lips in Marvellous. And then, do you know what I think will really finish this off is some fake freckles. So I'm just going to draw on a few little freckles and buff them out. I've gone a bit mad with them, so I'm going to put the freckle thing down, but there we go, all done. Well, there you go. I really hope you enjoyed, and as always, please feel free to leave a comment here with any video requests you want to see, or if there's a particular technique or makeup item that you're struggling with, and I can work it into a video for you. But have a lovely day, and I'll chat to you again very soon.